All right, let's jump right in. What if the AI we're all building could actually pay its own bills online? I know, sounds like sci-fi, but it's not. The payments giant Stripe just made this massive but kind of quiet move into a brand new market, machines paying other machines. And it's all centered around this one protocol, x402, that's aiming to completely flip the script on how the internet's economy works.
And just in case you're wondering how big their ambitions are, get this. The creators of x402 over at Coinbase, their mission statement is, and I quote, "Let's kill the API key." Yeah, so this isn't just about some new way to pay. It's a full-on challenge to the entire subscription model that's basically run the web for, well, decades.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, the easiest way to think about it is that we're literally giving an AI its own wallet, its own bank account, and the freedom to use it. We're talking about software that can just decide all by itself to pay for a piece of data or rent some computing power or even hire another AI to do a job, all without a human ever having to click approve.
And this is why it's a huge deal right now. Stripe, a company that handles over $1 trillion a year in payments, is now officially backing x402. This is an open-source system that lets AIs pay for things instantly using stablecoins, like USDC. Stripe getting involved is the thing that could take this from a niche crypto idea and make it the new backbone of the entire digital economy. But you might be asking yourself, wait, why does an AI even need a wallet in the first place? Well, that brings us to this core issue that the VC firm A16Z calls the unbanked ghost problem, which is a perfect name for it.
I mean, think about how weird this is. We're building these unbelievably powerful AIs that can write perfect code or discover new medicines, but they can't do something as simple as opening a bank account. They can't pass a security check. They definitely can't get a credit card. In the financial world we've built, they're basically ghosts. They're powerless to pay for the very things they need to function.
You see, our entire payment system, it's built for us, for humans. And for machines, it's a terrible fit. Just think about it. It's slow, it's crazy expensive for tiny amounts, and it's all about subscriptions. AI agents, they need the complete opposite. We're talking instant automated transactions for like fractions of a penny. I mean, can you imagine an AI trying to pay 1/1000th of a cent for one little piece of weather data? Our credit card system it wouldn't even know what to do. The old way just doesn't work here.
So the solution is actually this incredibly clever hack. The x402 protocol basically dusts off this 30-year-old part of the internet's original design that no one ever used, the HTTP 402 payment required error code. So now, instead of a server just saying, nope, access denied, it can say, hey, payment required, and it attaches a tiny little invoice that a machine can read. The AI pays it on the spot, gets a crypto receipt, and tries again. And this time it works. The whole economic conversation happens in milliseconds. It's brilliant.
Okay, so we've got a brilliant solution for a real problem, and it's backed by a financial titan. This thing should be a rocket ship heading straight up, right? Well, this is where the story gets a little complicated, and we need to look at the hard data.
Just a few months ago, back in December of 2025, the x402 network was absolutely on fire. It hit a peak of over 731,000 transactions in a single day. It seriously looked like the machine-to-machine economy wasn't just on its way, it was already here.
And then, this happened. A complete collapse. I mean, by February 2026, transactions just fell off a cliff, down a staggering 92%. So that rocket ship, it didn't just slow down. It pretty much blew up on the launch pad. So, what in the world happened?
Lucas, an analyst over at Artemis, really put it perfectly. The technology works, the tools got built, and they gave us this amazing preview of what's possible. There was just one tiny problem. The actual AI agents that were supposed to be using this new economy, they hadn't really shown up to the party yet. It was a classic, if you build it, they will come, but they hadn't come yet.
So this leaves us with two totally different ways to look at what just happened. The pessimist says, see, the bubble burst. It was all just hype, no real substance. But the optimist looks at this and says, no, this is totally normal. It's what they call the trough of disillusionment, that really painful dip every big new technology goes through before it finds its footing and starts the real climb.
So, which is it? A fatal crash or just some really bad turbulence before we hit cruising altitude? You know, this whole boom-bust-build cycle is a pattern we've seen before with everything from the internet to cloud computing. So the question isn't if the demand for machine economy is coming, but when. And what's it going to look like when it finally gets here?
And that's exactly why, even with the protocol's recent nosedive, you still see these massive market projections. The
The whole AI agent market is expected to jump from about $8 billion today to over $50 billion by 2030. That's a tidal wave of economic activity coming our way, and it's going to need some kind of payment system to run on.
Right now, the whole ecosystem is pretty much run by its creator, Coinbase. But the really important piece of this pie is that little slice for new entrants. See, when Stripe jumps in, it doesn't just add one more player. It could potentially bring millions of developers and businesses that are already using Stripe along with it, which could completely redraw this chart almost overnight. So if we look down the road, there are really three ways this could play out. Best case scenario, Stripe is the match that lights the fire, and this thing explodes into millions of transactions a day this year. The base case, which is probably the most likely, 2026 is a quiet year of building things out, and then real steady growth kicks in around 2027. And then there's the worst case. The tech was just too early, the demand never really shows up, and this whole thing becomes a cool footnote in internet history.
So after all that, what's the big picture here? What should we take away from all this? If you look past the hype and past the crash, something really fundamental is happening. We are trying to teach the internet a brand new language.
For the last 30 years, the internet's main action, its main verb, has been to search. We use it to go find information. This new system offers a totally new verb, to pay. It imagines a web where basically every interaction is an exchange of value. Imagine a future where your research AI pays a tiny fraction of a cent to 1,000 different databases to get an answer, or content creators get paid by the second for every single person watching their work. It's a huge shift from a web based on ads to a web based on transaction.
And that really leaves us with one last massive question. We are right on the edge of teaching our machines to speak the one language that runs the world, money. So when that conversation really starts, who gets rich? Is it going to be the architects who design the language, like Coinbase? Or the toll booth operators who control the flow of traffic, like Stripe? Or is it the builders, the millions of developers who are going to create all the new services for this new AI economy? Now that is the multi-billion-dollar question.